Force me to sit out half a week of swim camp. I make you jump in after me. So, I'll preface this by saying I have swam from a young age. I absolutely loved swimming as a child. So, I absolutely cherish the hour of swim at Y Camp. So, for those of you not in America, we have the YMCA. It's a fitness club that has child care activities. I was never a well-off kid, at least at this age anyway. So every summer, I went to the YMCA day camp when I was with my mom. Every week you had to recertify you were okay to swim. If you didn't, you got a red wristband and you had to use the kiddie pools. If you took it off, they had to recertify you. If you were good, you got a green wristband. Well, every week basically, I got the green one and I would do what kids my age do. I would go down the water slide and hang out in the deep end. Then, one week, my mom put me in the special swim camp where that's mainly what you do. You still had to certify, but whatever. They got a new lifeguard. So, I did my test the same as always. I would jump into the deep end 15 feet, and pop up just before the wall on the other side. I swam underwater but very distinctively not on the ground. No big deal. Today I learned. This lifeguard stated I never popped up for air, so I showed signs of drowning. Thus, I got a red wristband. The revenge. I ended up cutting the wristband off to force them to recertify me. Same lifeguard. I swam above the water the whole time. I got the green wristband. So, still steaming at this jackwagon, the next day, I made sure to bring my diver's watch my dad gave me when I visited him, and my goggles. When I got there, he was supervising the deep end. So, I went to the deep end, let all my air out, laid there with my goggles on and waited for the dude to jump in. Maybe after 30 seconds he jumps in. I spring into action. As soon as I heard him, I jumped up and got on the wall at the surface before he could do anything. So, every about 10 minutes, I did this to the guy for 2 days straight. If he moved, I moved. I would jump in where it's no other guard's domain. Finally, I was asked to stop, on Friday, as they got the point. From that point on, I never had to recertify. They just knew who I was. Let's just say that it's fun to stay at the YMCA. You can get yourself clean. You can have a good meal. You can do whatever you feel. You can hang out with the boys. Donald Trump approves of this message. I understand the concept of showing that you can swim sufficiently well, but the certification tests seem excessive. Did they expect someone to forget they knew how to swim from one week to the next? Or were there simply so many campers that it was easier to just run the test than to keep records? It's for safety because parents are so happy. If something happened and they didn't do it every week, they'd say that the camp was negligent. But yeah, I agree with you. Even in once a week is excessive. I can see once a month. Oh, it is, but have you ever met the anti-vaxxer? My kid's name is Amelie Egg. Have you tried being your own boss, babe? Buy my essential oils, moms. They're the reason this is in place. Yes. 6 kids. A former classmate in high school. I couldn't believe her. So you understand LMFAO? Yes. I hightailed it out of that area of the store. The first part was clever with cutting off the band, but I'm surprised you weren't banned for the rest. Probably because most of the employees genuinely don't care. A good deal of them were just college students working a part-time job there. Or Op is lying. He's American but says mom. Oof. When I was a manager of a YMCA pool, a kid doing something like this, messing with the lifeguard to the point that they were jumping into the water frequently, because they have to, would have gotten the kid banned from swimming for the day. Doing stuff like this takes away from the lifeguard's ability to watch the water and keep other swimmers safe. That being said, I would have had a conversation with you that explained that. First, most kids were pretty receptive to such conversations and stopped pulling their pranks. I also would have had a conversation with my lifeguard to find out why they had failed you in the first place. The vast majority of lifeguards are just teenagers trying to do their jobs, but their jobs involve keeping people alive. Much more stressful than most entry-level jobs that teenagers have. Like I said to another person, I stopped when asked because I knew their head lifeguard well enough. I didn't need to really explain too much. I just respected him enough to not press it. He also let me continue doing it until the end of the day, but said if I did it another day, I'd be reprimanded. I think both sides kinda shone that day. Hey, you were a literal child. I'm not faulting you. I'm just trying to provide some education and give an example of how I'd have handled the situation. Still, you shared a great story. Right. I wouldn't accept my boys doing it, but this is something I did. I can't imagine how it must have felt for that lifeguard to get completely outsmarted by a child. Great petty revenge story. As someone who also swam like a fish since I can remember, I understand your frustration. I was forced the indignity of swimmies because the adult in charge of the pool party didn't believe I could swim. I think I was 5 to 7. Wouldn't let me prove it to her, either. But, as an adult who owns property, I understand. I do not want to take the chance a kid could get hurt or killed, and it be my fault simply for 1. Owning the property, and 2. Being the only adult around. You get hurt, parents get livid and sue, and I lose everything I own. You die, and I've got that on my conscience forever. Does this mean I'm going to be a dick and belittle one kid's statement that they're a pro at whatever dangerous thing a whole bunch of kids are also saying I can do it? I'm the best at it. Mememin first, my niece and nephew are great at this, and I know that it's complete crap. You bet your damn ass I am. And if any kid in my care looks like they are in trouble, I will get them out of it. If I were that lifeguard, I would have banned you from the pool for pulling that. Honestly, while you were repeatedly getting your revenge, that lifeguard has to respond. He or she cannot take the chance that you didn't bite off more than you can chew. You could have gotten your foot caught in the drain, for all they knew. By doing this, you also potentially put all the other kids in serious danger by forcing the lifeguard's attention solely on you. What if some other kid drowned because you were getting rescued for the 3rd time? They aren't doing it to be jerks. They aren't singling you out deliberately. It's their job to make sure no one dies, and at a wage that isn't much more than minimum. They have to keep track of a lot of kids, not just you, and that is like trying to herd cats that have been into catnip. I know this is probably not what you were looking for in a comment, so downvote away. I just ask that the next time you feel slighted or singled out, please think about it, and don't assume that it's because they're out to get you. Personally, man, I get why you're saying this. Though, this was a summer after like the 3RD/4TH grade. Most kids don't really think about it that way. The dude and the other guards got into it. I only cut it off because the other lifeguard called BS and told me I should. It was the kid in me that spiraled to do more. I will make you remember that I know how to swim. I taught at a summer camp for kids and I know a lot of the precautions are really annoying, but safety was always the most important thing. Parents entrusted us with their children's lives. Huge responsibility. Reading this over and over again made me more adept at manipulation. As a former lifeguard, holy crap, the recertify thing is hella petty. I feel you. But some pools are so strict and they probably had stupid rules. Yeah. The crappy part was you had to wait an entire day to recertify. Otherwise, they just retied another band. Still, you had to cut it off yourself or they'd tell you it is what it is. All campers had to have a wristband. Fantastic. Love it. I looked at swimming lessons at the local Y for my kids. It was unusually expensive. _/ Boss. That's a hella strict association you went to. I grew up going to Y for day camp and then eventually worked for them for a number of years and never had to do this. Young man, there's no need to stay down. I said. Young man, they know you won't drown. I said. Young man, there's a new guard in town. There's no need to recertify. Lol. They just knew who I was. My favorite part. Pretty much was mine. I just got a green band after coming back from visiting my father. Other campers didn't understand why. As a former YMCA lifeguard, you have my full support. For those of you not in America, then proceeds to say mum. I'm really confused. Depends where you are regionally in America. It could be mama, mama, mom, mum. I had 2 moms growing up, so I call my birth mom mum or mama. I've lived all over the US and I've never ever heard anyone say mum. I've heard it a ton in California and Texas. Also, I've lived abroad too after 08 took my parents' jobs. So I also picked up some English variants. Where in Cali, cause I lived in LA for a few years and never heard it once. Okay, not LA itself but Claremont, and it's close enough, damn it. And I am currently living in Houston, and I definitely don't hear it here except from British folks. Really? Aha. As a former lifeguard, that is super speedy. When you jump into the pool to save someone, it means a lot of the water is not being watched by a guard. Kids wander off into the deep end or trip and fall or take their life jackets off all the time, and you're just creating more opportunities for someone to drown. Feep you.